Hey Mike, how are you?
Hey, yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Davinder. I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So should I call you Mike Killen or Funnel Mike?
Well, there's the first big problem, right? Is my branding is kind of all over the place, but Mike is fine. Mike's fine.
Because I see funnel everywhere. Like when your
Yeah,
name comes, like this is the funnel guy. So that is what we are going to talk about today. But before we get on with the technical, stuff of sales funnels and related stuff, why don't you give a quick introduction of your online life and how you've, you know, decided
sure.
to get in with the funnels and not doing the general thing like most of us do, web design development.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thanks very much for having me on the podcast on the show. Um, I was the digital marketing lead for a large kind of US data conglomerate, big security company, and that went south. I lost my job. And I very quickly did go into the whole website and graphic design. I tried to start up an agency and it just didn't get anywhere. And so I decided to only focus on helping customers generate leads from their blog posts.
Mm-hmm.
So I started installing, Optinmonster on people's sites. And I really got involved with marketing funnels and marketing automation funnels. And over time, I realized that that's all I really wanted to do. And as I started building those for customers, more and more of my competitors and colleagues, people you meet at WordCamp and stuff, they said, how do you do that? How do you sell that kind of stuff? How do you price it? How much do you charge? And so I started Sell Your Service, which just teaches people really how to sell marketing funnels and how to build marketing funnels. And from there, yeah, it's grown really, really quickly. I've got a book out on scaling your business, and it's kind of all just come from really wanting to help people earn as much as they want. I've noticed if people sell marketing funnels, then they position themselves as different from every other website builder. But when we come onto it, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, a lot of the time building funnels is really just building a website that does two or three things really, really well.
Okay, cool. Now we'll start from people who already know about email marketing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
most of us are already familiar with email marketing, like how to put an email sign up box, connect it to MailChimp, collect email addresses, and then send them newsletters. Now, to that kind of an audience, how would you explain a term called sales funnel?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. And it was really interesting when you sent that one over. The first thing I think we have to do is understand that when we say sales funnel or marketing automation, it's all pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
And all we're really trying to do is convert someone from either someone who doesn't know that we exist all the way through to being a happy, profitable, repeat customer who refers us on to other people. And through that, we have people who are regular visitors to the website, which is traffic. And then we have people who subscribe, like you say, to an email list. And then we have people who become customers. And then we have people who become referrals and, hyper customers. That process there is the sales funnel. It's not the technology that makes it a sales funnel or the technology that makes it a marketing funnel, because you might do it just purely with blog content. You might not have a single landing page or a single sales page, but you might convert people into customers just with blog content. Whereas I might have just email marketing. And to people who are already familiar with email marketing, what the sales funnel is just thinking, how do I convert people who have signed up to my email list into a customer? And there's a bunch of ways that we can do that. And I'm sure we'll talk about that. You don't even have to have your own products. You
Yeah.
can use affiliate products. That is perfectly acceptable. That's a sales funnel. That's helping someone make that conversion. And it's just about recognizing where someone is within that journey and converting them into that next stage. The technology doesn't really matter as much. It's more understanding that process.
And most of the people who come to you for sales funnel knowledge or, setup, do they already know about email marketing or is it like start from the scratch?
So it's kind of split into two camps. On the one hand, I have people who are really good at email marketing who have built up a list and they say, how do I make this profitable? How do I monetize it? Right? That's the big thing everyone wants to know. What's really interesting is that a huge amount of my consulting customers, so when I consult with businesses, and that's everyone from language-based businesses to co-working spaces, telco companies, some of those guys are amazingly ignorant to email marketing, its capabilities, remarketing. So we find that businesses like you and I who are in the digital space, they need a bit of education on the process side, the sales process side, whereas a lot of businesses who have currently got customers and maybe they've been going for a few years, they're not aware of what's available for the technology for them to be able to interact with their customers. So it's split between the two, to be honest.
Because if a person comes to you and he doesn't have any knowledge about email marketing, he still have to learn about it, or you have to at least tell him the basics, because email marketing itself is an important part of, setting up a funnel sequence. So let's talk about a simple, sales funnel. Like, what are the key steps in a sales funnel sequence from start to finish that form the important milestones in the whole process?
I'm actually going to work backwards on this one. A lot of the time when I see other experts and marketing experts and funnel experts, they'll always go straight to traffic. They always start with traffic. Everyone knows about traffic, right? I'm actually going to start way on the other end. If I have to build a marketing funnel from scratch, even if a super basic, simple one, and I can even take an example. We've got a customer at the moment. They have a lot of customers. They themselves are a consulting company. And they said, look, we want to know more about marketing funnels. We want to automate our sales process, that we want landing pages and email marketing and social media and remarketing and content marketing and all of this. The first thing that they need to do, and I believe the first thing that anyone needs to do when they're building a marketing funnel, is convert your current customers into another product. That's the first step, in my opinion.
Would that qualify as upsell?
Absolutely. Bang on. Yeah. Upsell or cross-selling. Yeah. So to take a current customer, even if you've only got one, and attempt to move them into a new product, you can either launch a new product, you can position a recurring revenue product to them, you can increase the value. Maybe they bought a $10,000 product and moving them into a $50,000, or they bought a $19 ebook from you and positioning them into like a $1,500 course. Upselling and increasing the value of your current customers, one, is the easiest sale you'll ever make. It's also the fastest way to generate revenue. I know why a lot of people go to traffic first, but I think you have to flip that entirely, because traffic is very expensive. Yeah. Because it's a long time. It could be 18 months before someone makes a sale. So I'd rather focus, and the first step to me is focusing on my current customers, and then working backwards from there. I want to look at my leads and the people in my database. And again, even if it's only small, even if it's only 10 people, I want to convert leads into a first-time sale, because I've already got their contact information. And once I begin to get that process, that's got a decent conversion rate. Maybe I get it up to 5% or 10% as a conversion rate. And I know that if I have 10 leads, then one of them buys their first product. That's a 10% conversion. Fantastic. I can go and get more leads. That's actually relatively easy, because I'm now converting people. I kind of equate it to, people are really good at planting crops, and they love to plant crops in a farm, but then no one ever goes and harvests them. It's like, why don't I make any money? I'm like, well, you have to go and harvest what you've planted, but you have to learn how to harvest first. You have to learn how to capture those customers and upsell those current customers.
And what would be the sequence for someone who is new to the business, who doesn't have any customer, and his funnel sequence is basically to get new customers and maybe, do the upsell later down the line? Yeah,
sure. And again, I'm going to take a slightly different angle with this. We could start with blog content, and we could start with email capture. In my opinion, the first stage, when we build out a brand new funnel, let's say for a startup company, and they literally are starting from scratch. They've got money invested, but they don't have any sales or revenue. The first thing that we need to do is to create some kind of content, some piece of content that is considered cornerstone. I think I've heard you call it cornerstone content, or killer content. high quality, 10, 20,000 word posts, something that positions them in the marketplace and on the internet as an expert in their field. It's not about driving a ton of paid traffic back to a website. I have to have some kind of content on the site that positions me as an expert. And I want to push that out to my referral network. Again, I'm just trying to think of ways that are free, essentially, because buying traffic is expensive and it takes a while to convert. If you do it properly, of course, it's profitable, but no one ever goes into buying traffic straight away. And it's not profitable straight away.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time and you have to test it and you have to do iterations and you have to do A/B testing. So if I have a single piece of high quality killer content and I push that out into the marketplace, and that's where I put my email capture forms, that's where I put my list building forms, and I offer my lead magnets. If I push that out to my network and my referral network and I say, hey, we're an audio company. We only work with, podcasters who are recording on Zoom, and we want to provide them the best possible microphone for recording podcasts on Zoom. Does anyone know anyone who does that? Because we've got a long form blog post on the best possible, equipment that you could buy. You'd be surprised at how many people in your network know somebody who knows someone. Yeah. Even those 2 or 3, links. And once you start getting traffic from referral sources, then you can start driving traffic from organic sources through SEO, through writing more blog content. And then after that, you can start working on your paid traffic. But the fastest way is to push out to your referral network a high quality killer cornerstone blog post.
And do you also get these kind of clients who are like startups and new, and they are like impatient? They don't want to build the content the natural way. They have money to spend and they just want to spend the money and get the leads. Do you get those kind of clients? If yes, how you handle them?
So we do, but I tend not to work with them. So our client portfolio is, we only work with businesses who already have current customers.
Okay.
The reason why is startups, they've often got money. They're really enthusiastic. That's fine. But the process of attracting new leads and driving new leads is expensive.
Yeah.
In the history of mankind, there has never been a campaign that has launched immediately without either being extremely expensive or requiring a lot of testing that makes a profit. When you see campaigns online for a brand new company, they're not making any profit. And I think a lot of startups forget this, that if they want to make $1 million in their first year, they're going to have to spend $1 million. They're going to have to break even. Customer acquisition is the name of the game. You have got to acquire those customers. And like we mentioned at the start, upselling to customers is easy, which is why they're happy to acquire those customers. But we do have a lot of guys approach us and they say, look, we've got $25,000 or we've got $100,000 and we want to turn that into $250,000, but we don't have any current customers. If I could do that, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation. I would be on a private island somewhere. If I could just turn cold people who never knew that we existed into brand new profitable customers, very, 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 very difficult. It can be done, but it takes a long time and it takes a lot of money. So when those customers do approach us, we'll go through that process and we will try to educate them on how acquiring customers is important, but they're going to have to learn how to upsell those customers as well. They've got to learn to profit maximize as many of those customers as possible.
In this process of, the basic funnel setup, at which step majority of people fail in successful funnel execution? Like, have you seen any pattern in there?
Yeah, it's definitely selling. It's the sales part.
Mm-hmm.
We've got so good at creating landing pages and
fancy ones.
Right. Exactly. You have really amazing looking landing pages, and don't get me wrong, they look fantastic. And we've got these amazing YouTube channels, and people have Instagram followers of 100 and 150,000 people, but no one seems to want to convert them into a sale. We have customers who have got 200,000 Instagram followers and they barely make $2,000 a month. I'm like, that's the problem. The biggest problem people have is converting some kind of lead or subscriber, even if it's, I mean, a YouTube subscriber obviously is not worth as much as an email subscriber or, say, a qualified lead where you've got all their contact information. But making that conversion into a sale, that's where most people fall down. They really struggle with that. And they go out and they continue to try and generate leads, whereas what they should be doing is trying to close the leads that they've got and trying to convert the leads. That's the biggest place I see people fall down.
Okay, now let's talk about the pages in a sales funnel process, like landing page, checkout, thank you page. Are these pages enough for simple sales funnel sequence, or do we need to stuff more in there?
No, so yeah, that's a really good question. I don't think you do. I think you can,
because I'm asking you this question because these days we have that graphical display of how the funnel would flow, and people just make so complicated flow charts. Okay, this go here, this go, yes, man, that's so overwhelming especially for a new user who won't do funnels.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we look at what we're trying to do, again, as I mentioned at the start, it is we're trying to take people that don't know that we exist and convert them into a profitable customer. And that's chopped up into about 4 or 5 stages, right? Cold traffic, warm traffic, lead or subscriber, first-time customer or prospect, first-time customer, and then a hyper customer. Our simple funnel process, in some cases, doesn't even need a checkout page. You know, we could strip it right back and say, have this sales letter or sales page that talks about our product or service. And if you want to get this launched today, like right now, you could just have a PayPal button there, or an email form. And the funny thing is, like it doesn't need to have. And like I said, you can get very complex, and you know, a lot of people test like breaking up checkout forms into like two pages. Fine, if you want to test that, great. There's still nothing is going to beat trying to keep everything in one location. If you can have an amazing sales page and a button that says click here to buy now, great. That's like, worry about the automation and making it more complex afterwards. Start getting those conversions, start seeing what happens first when people buy. I do like a thank you page. I do think a thank you page is maybe the first place if you want to start getting sophisticated with your marketing funnels. Is probably the best place to go after your landing page or after your like sales page to redirect people to a thank you page. First of all, acknowledging what they've done, you know, saying, you know, thank you very much for signing up. But secondly, it's a really good position to upsell, you know, to the next product. But no, you're absolutely right. When you see some of these funnel flows, and I'm like, I do this for a living, and that is overwhelming. You know, there's a lot there, you know.
Because these days there are few checkout pages which are loaded with information besides the checkout. Like they will show 5 testimonials, big money back guarantee, you know, graphic, and so much stuff there. Like your payment is secure, this, that. Like it's like you will be distracted, not just typing your credit card number, but reading those testimonials and wait on the checkout page and not complete the sale.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to look at the guys who know what they're doing. And I mean, really know what they're doing. Amazon in the UK, John Lewis, as like an online retailer. Those guys, their checkout page is just designed to capture the payment information that they require. They make a lot more money than most professional funnel experts and funnel hackers, as they call themselves. We've seen, so a colleague of mine, Sean Mize, who's my sales coach, his checkout pages are as short as possible because he knows that the checkout page is kind of like a pain point for a lot of people. It's even if it's already pre-filled their information, it says people want to get it out of the way. And if you overwhelm them with where to look and, you know, should they be reading this and is the button clearly laid out? He's like, skip all of that. The conversion should happen in the customer's mind on the sales page, and you should be making it as easy as possible. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I completely agree. Make it as simple as possible.
Yeah, Amazon is a great example, and Amazon does very well even in upsells. You know, you buy one product and you're thrown with the options of, and most of time we tend to buy the second and third product as well because hey, I bought the mic. I also need a foam. I also need a boom arm. It's showing it
Yeah.
works with this
But
mic.
that was where they started making their money. You know, when the massive amounts of revenue that businesses like Amazon made is not through remarketing. Amazon got into the remarketing game relatively late compared to some of the other players. What they focused on was converting their current customers. And that literally means if you've bought one product once on the first ever time on Amazon, you're absolutely right. They say, thank you so much for buying. You might also be interested in these 4
Yeah.
products. They just want to keep you in that ecosystem. After you buy, they send you an email saying, thanks very much, your product's on its way. You might be interested in these 4 products. The upsell is where they made their money. Then they went back and started looking at remarketing, and then they started looking at advertising. The reason that they made their money is they were converting current customers first with a very simple checkout process. You're absolutely right.
And how often we've bought those upsells. Like
Yeah, my credit card company is well aware of how often we buy them. Yeah.
okay, let's get back from checkout to landing page. Now, how important is the text copy on the landing page? Are there like any general do's and don'ts, like how long, how short, how big, how screaming, how subtle, you know?
And so first of all, the copy, in my opinion, is the most important part of the landing page. If I had to choose between an incredibly well-designed, good-looking page or incredibly well-written copy, I'll take copy every day. Every day. And again, we can prove this. Some of our highest converting sales pages and landing pages are written letters. They are essentially just blog posts. They've got some design styling to make it easy to read, but there's no creativity necessarily behind it. In terms of do's and don'ts, I know a lot of people say that you should be testing, but the reality is most of us aren't driving enough traffic to be able to test properly. So instead, what we do is we do a smoke test. And this kind of breaks it out into 2 areas. If you've got 10 people on your email list or 10 people follow you on Twitter, even if you've got a really small amount, and this scales all the way to huge numbers. I don't know how many thousands of people are on our email list, but I'll scale it out to big numbers. I'll send them literal sentences saying, would you rather learn how to build a marketing funnel using WordPress, or would you rather learn to build a marketing funnel using Beaver Builder? And they'll say, I'd rather learn Beaver Builder, something specific, for example. I go, great. They're actually going to be part of the same landing page or the same product or the same webinar. But just them voting on what it is that they want, that's a pretty good indicator. It's not perfect, but it's fast, it's pretty much free, and that's a good way of measuring where I want to write the copy. So this is all about your audience. The second thing is writing for your audience. A lot of people on a landing page or a sales page, they'll talk about what they, the company, do, or what they, the company, are offering, or what is in the webinar. No one cares about any of that. What people want to read is how they will be a better person. Right. The more you can write for what you get and say the word you. So I'm going to help you build funnels with Beaver Builder. I want to help you drive more traffic using SEO. I want to help you increase your income or increase your learning speed or whatever. The more you can write it from their perspective, as opposed to trying to tell them, and we're often told to sell benefits, not features. I think people don't really get that still. The benefit is just, what does your customer's future look like, or the reader's future look like after they interact with you? Are they a happier person? Do they feel less stressed? Are they less confused? Do they have more clarity? That to me is the fastest copywriting technique that will make a difference. Is stop telling people it's going to be a 90-minute webinar and we're going to cover these 5 points. Instead say, we're going to change your life. You are literally going to be a more productive and happier person because I'm going to teach you, or you're going to learn these 5 things. So that's the kind of the other half. I think if you don't have the volume to be able to test it, is always try and write it from your audience's perspective. And
how important is images and videos on a landing page? Do they help in better performance and conversion?
I think I'm going to have to ask you that, to be honest, Devinder. In terms of I mean, I don't know what you've seen. I'd be fascinated to know what you've seen.
Yeah, because if you are on a landing page of a say WordPress product and you immediately see a video of a demo showing how
Mm,
this product works in the backend, you will be more tempted to buy it, and because you
mm,
just saw something that you will be using in your WordPress dashboard. But
yeah,
just comparing that with, you remove the video and you just talk about, okay, this plugin does this is our price, buy it. No one
yeah,
has time to buy and download zip and install on WordPress and
yeah,
then see how it works and then get disappointed, okay, I need a refund. No
yep,
one has time, because we all have gone through that process,
hmm
and no one wants to spend time on that.
yeah, yeah. I agree, and I think the only thing I find with videos and images when people build landing pages is, so first of all, a good video sales letter typically will outperform any other written
Yeah.
page. As a rule, we find that on our content, and they're only 3 to 5 minutes long. They're quite short, right?
Yeah.
But if you need to get it done today, writing something will always convert 100 times better than thinking, well, I need to have the right images and I need to brand it correctly. I try to think of videos and images as a way of improving conversions, not necessarily where I'd want to start. A lot of the time we'll write our sales letter or we'll write the copy for the landing page out, and then I'll think, well, how could I improve it? And you're absolutely right. Images, massive part. Again, like, show the future if you can of how the customer feels, happy, relieved, stress-free. It sounds simple, but it works. There's a reason that car adverts show the imagery of what it's going to feel like when you drive their car. They don't show the specification of the car. They show what it feels like after you've done something.
Of
And again, with
course, they won't show cars stuck in traffic. They will.
right? No, they don't. They don't show cars stuck in traffic. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But they show what it feels like, So yeah, I completely agree with you. Typically, they'll outperform.
I think
Then,
if your video is serving a purpose, is basically showing the benefit of the product, then it works. But if your video is just an accessory in trying to make your landing page fancy, I think that's
yeah,
a big mistake, because a lot of people
completely
these
agree.
days use videos in the background as well, which is kind of
Mm,
annoying, to be honest,
mm,
especially if your traffic is coming from mobile devices, as such your video won't play there. So why
yeah,
do the hard work or take more steps when they are not going to benefit you?
yeah. And yeah, you're absolutely right. There's nothing I can add to that. I completely agree.
Okay, now let's talk about the offer thing, lead magnet thing. Now people sign up, give their email address in anticipation of some offer or a thing. Now the thing is obviously the lead magnet. Now, do you advise people on their lead magnet offering as well?
Yeah, that's actually a big part of, like, when we first started out, how we could drive leads, because everyone was just saying, sign up to our newsletter. And people were like, why? So first of all, kind of, I don't care about GDPR. As a marketer, I'm happy to say, sorry, Adam and all the guys who have consulted, I literally do not care about GDPR. My job is to help businesses increase the number of people that know they exist, not to be compliant. Okay. So when it comes to lead magnets, our job as a company, let's say that you and I own a microphone company,
Mm-hmm.
and sell to podcasters. We've created this brand new type of microphone, works really well with podcasters. We have to think about the result that our microphone gets. So there's stress-free recording, high quality audio, all those types of things. Our job is to also create content on the front end, on the traffic end, on our blog and videos and podcasts, talking to people about how to have a stress-free recording environment, how to have the best possible quality audio, how to record properly, how to remove background noise, all these things that our product does. We take the results that our product does, and then we actually teach people how to use it. And a lead magnet is usually one of those things that you'll teach. So the lead magnet could be based off the same results, how to have a perfect podcast recording with no background noise. And that could be a guide, it could be a video, it could be a webinar, it could be a checklist. the execution doesn't matter. It's about helping people get the same results, but in this case, with less investment, less money. So it's always about the results that we want to get. And that's what we try and teach our customers, is to say, whatever it is that you do as a premium product, you need to teach people how to do it for free. That's what you should be doing.
And any methodology or tips to add shine to your lead magnet to get more eyeballs, like wrap it with party paper?
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. I think just like you said in the video stage, look at how your customer or the reader will benefit. How is their life better? There are absolutely lead magnets that I have downloaded that I refer to probably once or twice a week that are genuinely so useful that I often refer back to them. My life has literally been made better. It's all about describing how someone's life is going to be better, describing how their life is going to be easier, stress-free, more money, better quality podcasts, whatever the result is, and give them that. Focus really heavily on that. Keep it short as well. Don't try and oversell it. You should be able to kind of position a lead magnet with a headline and one sentence. If you can't, it means that you probably aren't clear enough on the result.
Okay, now let's talk about WordPress and sales funnel. Now, a lot of people with WordPress think they need something more sophisticated, glamorous, out of the box, like ClickFunnels, lead pages, because to build the funnels, because hey, WordPress is just WordPress. So how do you burst that bubble?
Well, first of all, I've literally just published a video today called WordPress versus ClickFunnels, and how I believe that WordPress is the best funnel platform available. I understand. So let's strip everything away. A funnel is basically just a website that is working properly, really.
Yeah.
Yep, there's some email automation in there. There's some remarketing, there's some social stuff, there's some content. The guys like Lead Pages and ClickFunnels and Unbounce, they talk about the funnel and they talk about all these pages as if they're this brand new invention. They are all page builders. Every single one of them is essentially a page builder.
Yep.
You will find that a page builder that we have access to in the WordPress community, Beaver Builder, Elementor, Oxygen, Divi, even Gutenberg, even Visual Composer, has the same functionality for a 10th or sometimes even 100th of the price that these platforms are offering.
Yeah.
What's interesting as well is when you're kind of in one of those systems like ClickFunnels, you can actually be tied into it and it can be very difficult to leave it. Whereas with WordPress, you have a lot more freedom. So WordPress is absolutely more than capable of building some very complex and very sophisticated funnels, should you need them to be complex and sophisticated.
Yeah, because if you already have a WordPress website, you already have done the basic investment in server and setting up the site. You actually don't, but it all comes down to the marketing, because they have created this ecosystem. You need funnels, come to ClickFunnels. That's the thing. But if you really understand the basics of how a sequence works, you can use any platform. Even I use Teachable. Guess what? Teachable has upsell feature inbuilt in their checkout process. And they also have those fancy features, like you can show testimonials on your checkout page. You can put in something extra there. So people, it's difficult to understand, because it's all about marketing, how things have been fed into people's head. This is, if you need this, come here. You need that, go there. So
I completely agree. Completely agree.
So staying with the WordPress and funnel setup, which are your preferred tools and plugins to build sales funnel sequence on WordPress itself?
Yeah, okay. First of all, Optinmonster. Optinmonster was around way before a lot of the page builders were, and that's what really helped us start capturing leads. I'm a huge fan of what they do. I love their analytics. I know that a lot of page builders have like an opt-in form component, but Optinmonster, frankly, they've been really good to me as a company. I like their support. I like their team. So that's always the first thing that gets installed on our customer sites. And it's easy to manage multiple sites using their platform. So I like Optinmonster for capturing leads. Beaver Builder. and the Beaver Builder theme and Beaver Themer as the three are our like preferred page builder. We absolutely use Ultimate add-ons, for the
Beaver.
for Beaver Builder for a few of the extra features. I really like the template pack that comes with it as well, like the landing pages and stuff. I think they work really, really well. In terms of some of the other things, we use Gravity Forms as well, but we use that in quite a sophisticated way. And if people are just starting out building funnels, they might not necessarily need that. That's usually for our checkout pages. We, of course, also have Beaver Funnels, which is our funnel product just for Beaver Builder, although we're going to be expanding that out into all WordPress page builders. That's designed to kind of help manage your funnels and manage your pages. But like I said, everything that we can do, we can pretty much do almost for free. I'd even argue that if you use the free version of Beaver Builder with a free theme, you can absolutely create a sophisticated funnel,
Yep, you can, because all the functionality is there. It's just few modules will be missing, which you can supplement by using Ultimate add-ons or some other add-ons plugin. Now, you mentioned Optinmonster. I've recently started using ConvertBox on my websites, and it is amazing. And guess what? I'm getting more signups, and most of those signups that are coming are actually coming from those ConvertBox API. So, and I don't have any, fancy disturbing pop-ups. It's just an exit intent pop-up box. So if you're closing, you'll get a small pop-up. That's about it, and nothing else. But people are signing up, I guess. Simple works if you want to do simple things, but majority of people complicate things.
And I think the reason that people like to complicate it is because you can make yourself very busy doing the complicated stuff. Whereas what really makes, if we want to get like really basic, and you run a company, maybe we've got this microphone company, your job should just be to write and create useful content every single day on a very basic website, and then use something, Optinmonster, ConvertBox, whatever you want to use, and start capturing those leads. That's your job. And you could write sales letters. You could write, you could shoot videos using your iPhone or your Samsung, explaining it. And you don't have to have any of the crazy modules or any of the crazy templates. You could do that all using, you could even do it with the 2018 theme. Like that, I think, is what makes the difference. And then when you want to start kind of increasing those conversions and optimizing them, absolutely look at your branding, look at the templates, look at how that's all laid out. But the momentum will come from people dedicating themselves to helping their audience first, not making overly complex technology choices.
Let's talk about complex things like FOMO and gamification. So using countdown timers to create scarcity and inducing FOMO, fear of missing out. Does this help?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Everyone says that it doesn't work on them. Everyone says
it works.
Right. Everyone's like, no, it doesn't affect me. I don't have that. And yet it works. Like,
why AppSumo is successful.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. I think personally, I don't like using fear of missing out when I don't understand fear of missing out on digital products. Like, you can't run out of those. So it's clearly a campaign just for fear of missing out. You say, we've only got this many licenses. We're only doing the discount.
But how common is that?
Right. But the reality is that if we launch a brand new course, I will say there's going to be a founder's level at $997 or $497. And at the end of that, it's going up to full price. I think that's full disclosure. And I think I'm giving you the opportunity to buy. The product isn't going away, but at this price, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to lower it again. I'm going to stay true to my word. The reality is that the countdown timer, it does work. It works in emails. It works as a scarcity tactic. It's less about tricking people into buying. It's less about, making people like fearful that it's going away. It's helping frame the urgency of, is their problem like severe enough for them to need to do something about it right now. That's all we should be trying to frame it as, is if you want, this life, if you want this holiday, if you want this to feel this way, is that severe enough for you to need it now? That's why scarcity works and when it works properly.
And about gamification, what all gamification things you use or you've seen people use in this funnel business?
Yeah, there's some clever stuff coming out now. Like internally on our like membership site and on our courses and things, if people have a certain number of points, they get access to other courses. I want to reward people for coming back. To be honest, a lot of our gamification is predominantly with customers rather than with our leads. However, I have started to see blogs and social posts reward people for coming back and building up points and having a leaderboard of readers. But to be honest, I don't know how effective that is. I mean, I don't know if you've seen anything that works in particular.
Yeah, a lot of people use that points and credit system, but
Yep.
I don't know. If I am a student and I wouldn't be too bothered about acquiring points, I would be bothered about just consuming the content that's available. So, but then if you have a thing in the back of head, like if I get 100 points, I'll get access to that course and I don't have to spend $100. So you will probably do those things half-heartedly, but will still do it.
Yeah. And it works really well for customers. Gamification has been shown to work really well on courses and learning content, but only to an extent. It's, you still have to have the high quality content and a good relationship with the customer.
Yeah.
The gamification can't replace that. It just adds to that level of it. And, we've talked about some of the other things. There's other areas that I would want to focus on within my funnels before I look at that personally.
Because these are like fancy up accessory things in the process.
They're expensive and they require testing.
Yeah. And they require bigger user base as well.
Yes.
To see if it works. You can't just like A/B split testing, because a lot of people, they will start a funnel and they would hardly have 100 users and they will say, oh, I've set up A/B testing, but they don't realize A/B testing on 100 users will always give you skewed results, super skewed results. Actually, those results are good for nothing, to be honest.
Yeah.
You need actually sizable amount of,
and
users.
time. Like,
yeah,
you've got to have a suitable amount of time because again, wherever your traffic is coming from those landing pages, the traffic source, be it Google's organic SEO or AdWords or Facebook or Instagram, is always learning. It's always shifting who it's presenting it to. So it might not be until 2 or 3 months or 6 months that you've got enough people over enough time to be able to make any sense out of it. So I agree. Gamification, we have seen it works. We own an LMS company, and we have seen that it works for some of those large businesses. But some of the customers that we work with have got 10, 15,000 students per course, not even just as customers, that's per course. Yeah, we can get some great data from that, but they're already a multi-million-pound company. That's not what's going to create a multi-million-pound company.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sticking with the performance and evaluation, how do you measure the sales funnel performance in quantitative terms?
Yeah, it's purely sales. Like all I'm interested in, and it's funny because I was talking to Kim Doyle about this, even our email marketing and our lead generation right back to like webinars, I'll measure the success of all of those just on revenue. That's the only thing that matters. And the way that we do that is after we've run a campaign, we tend to run in 2-month campaign blocks. At the end of the campaign, I'll literally see how many new customers did we acquire, how many current customers bought. Those are the 2 numbers that I really care about, and how much revenue did we generate. Because I don't care about cost per click, for example. It's completely irrelevant to me. Some of our insurance customers will pay $17 per click, but they'll make $2,000 for every single customer. So they don't care.
Yeah.
On the other side, 4p a click, if I don't ever convert them, is a massive waste of money. So the only thing I'm interested in is how much how much money am I making per customer? And I suppose the step back from that is cost of acquisition. So the cost per customer. We do have a cost per lead, which you basically work out as if you've generated 100 new email subscribers and you've spent $100 on Facebook advertising, the conversion rates, all of that, none of that matters. All that matters is that you spent $1 per lead. Basically, everything else in the middle is for analysts and guys who are really good at data, which I'm not. And it's the same with customers. If I think, well, we've made $1,000 from 10 customers and it cost us, we know we spent $100 or $500 on marketing, then that's all I'm worried about. And that doesn't matter what campaign we're running, what technology we're using. I'm only interested in understanding how much money we've made per customer.
So in the end, it's all about money.
Yeah. And, social media guys are really good at increasing followers and increasing subscribers and increasing reach. They love to talk about reach and they say it's a really good brand activity. We spend money on branding. I know where and how I spend money on branding, which is why, in my opinion, ours works. But there's no company in history has ever made the FTSE 500 or has gone public or has got shares because they've got a really good engaged email audience. Like, who cares? That's irrelevant. No one in history has ever thought. I mean, we've just seen with Defy Media, the largest media company for YouTube channels, has gone bankrupt because it didn't focus enough on generating revenue. It was buying up YouTube channels. It had access to hundreds of millions of subscribers, but it couldn't make those sales. We're going right back to that start, that initial point we talked about. What's the most important place to start with your funnel? It's generating sales. It's generating revenue. Because unless you're doing that, your company doesn't exist. I don't care how big a lot of these companies and startups are and how much money they've raised. Until they've made a sale, until they've repeatedly made sales, they are a worthless company. It's a worthless metric.
Yeah, because
sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there.
Most of these big, so-called big companies, they have like in their objective, like, we will start making money 4 years from now. Like.
Yeah. Why 4 years? And they go, well, because it's very complex, Mike. There's a lot of board members involved. I'm like, yeah, and those board members are going to be pissed if you haven't made a single sale until 4 years' time.
I think Twitter is like that.
Twitter is like that. Twitter is like the world's greatest sales campaign because it's people buying an inflated version of an inflated product of an inflated product of an inflated product.
Yeah,
like, it's crazy. And people said, oh well, Amazon was in the same position. No, it wasn't. Amazon was in a massive customer acquisition process, and they knew that every single time they made a sale, they were acquiring a customer.
Yeah.
And they said, well, they never turned a profit. Now they have turned a profit. Why? Because they focused on making sales. They didn't care about their email list. They didn't care about their reach or their social profiles or anything like that. What they cared about was acquiring and converting customers. And that's all that matters throughout the entire program.
And Amazon has to invest also a lot. Like, here, Amazon came just 2 or 3 years back. Exactly. And it has devastated every other competitor here. Like, it's the number one here. Like, within 2 years, like, everyone is scrambling,
Yep.
There's no one at number 2 now. Like, it's just Amazon. So
yeah. And this is the thing, is the difference between getting investment to innovate. And, Amazon has literally changed the way that people see logistics. It's changed the way that people see warehouses. It's changed robotics. They own robotics companies, as opposed to a lot of companies which just keep requiring investment to keep running and keep going. Those are two very, very different businesses.
Okay, now let's talk about learning about sales funnels. Which resources, books, courses would you recommend a newbie wanting to learn about sales funnel from very foundation level?
Yeah. All right. So from a somewhat selfish perspective, the reason we got into this is our YouTube channel does have a lot of very, very basic how to build sales funnels using WordPress and Beaver Builder. So first of all, I feel I do have to say that. However, there are also a lot of fantastic resources out there. So first of all, Miles Beckler. Anyone who doesn't know Miles Beckler, check out his content. He is probably the reason that our business is in the position it is, in the shape it is. He's got a lot of YouTube content. He's got a very good podcast. If you want to learn almost everything that you could possibly learn about running a successful marketing funnel, whether you want to use it for yourself or you want to sell it on to customers, Miles Beckler is a great place to start. We talked about ClickFunnels, whereas I don't really rate their products. I do like Russell Brunson's book, .com Secrets. I think, again, that's a very easy book to read, and is the way that it positions a sales and automation funnel is from the perspective of a business rather than as a marketer. Because as a marketer, you and I talk about conversion rates and email opt-ins, but as a business, I want to talk about leads and sales. So I think that's a very good book. And finally, The Invisible Selling Machine by Ryan Deiss from Digital Marketer, which Digital Marketer's blog as well is outstanding. Like, their podcast is incredible. Again, from a newbie perspective, they'll start how to create a successful business, like such a broad category. And then they'll slowly introduce funnel topics to you. And then you can get more advanced. And they've got plenty of courses and products and certifications. Those are some good places to start.
And you recently launched your own book. Now, what was the motivation behind that book launch? Was that your first book?
So that's our first book. Yeah, From Single to Scale.
Congratulations. And so
thank you very much.
What's the motivation there? Because launching anything first is very special and kind of difficult also, because you're learning the process. So
it's funny you should say that. Writing the book was easy. That took like a month.
Editing would have taken whole
editing, launching, typesetting, so basically, okay, so 2015, I think, is when I actually finished writing, or I wrote it, or 2006, maybe it was 2016. 2016. Can't quite remember, but I think it was 2016. And first of all, I knew that a book is the only way to get speaking gigs. If you want to be a speaker, you have to have a book. I was like, well, I like speaking and I like public speaking. I'd done it a couple of times, but no one really took me seriously. And I noticed that everyone who was on the stage had a book. So I was like, I'm going to write a book.
So that's your lead magnet.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, that was essentially a sales letter for his courses. Now it's this amazing book, but at the time, the last kind of chapter was just this sales letter for his home study course. So I was like, well, what is it that I want to do? And I want to teach. So the book, From Single to Scale, is basically my business plan from going from a single person business who works out of his mum's spare room to someone who now has, staff, multiple teams, couple of offices, products, services. And yet I don't seem to work any harder. So it's just that process of being able to convert like a consultant job into a scalable process to give you more time back. And I just wrote out what I did. I just wrote the process out. And we self-published first, but now A-Press, which is a publishing company in New York, they saw it. They were like, well, he's already written it, so that'll be easier. I don't think they realized quite how bad the writing was, so they had to do a lot of editing work. But it was mainly to get me speaking gigs. But now I've got a bit of a bug for it, and I think number 2 is being edited now, and number 4 is being written. But it's good fun. It's quite cathartic.
So you may not become the stage speaker, but definitely a book writer, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So that bit's sealed now. But it is interesting because people are like, it's this on two sides. People are like, oh my God, how do you write a book? And I was like, I woke up at 5 o'clock every single day for a month and wrote.
You don't have a life?
Well, it was done within a month though. So you're right. Like, I didn't have much fun during that month, but it's done now. Like, problem solved. But on the second half, people are like, oh, so you're an author now. And I can't call myself that.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't really consider myself an author. I just am a guy who wrote a book and a few people have bought it. So I don't know.
Someone just said, you're a podcaster now. Like I said, really? Because
that's it. Yeah.
It's difficult to get those tags because I just started a few months back. And but then obviously people start recognizing. It's just like, someone asked me like, how did you make your first course? It happened 2 years back. And I said, I don't know. I just wanted to do it. I did it.
Yeah.
The first course I wanted to make never got published. It failed. The second course I wanted to make was done in 3 days. So how did you do
exactly.
that? It just happened.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun. I think it's more about doing it and getting it done rather than putting it off. I think people blow up in their head how complex they think a lot of these things are.
A lot of people forget this. Done is better than perfect. We are trying 100%. To perfect everything. We want to put candy floss gloss on everything, but we forget that people want to see the inner thing first and then the shine. Because okay, let's talk about your toolbox. So what are your current 5 favorite tools that power your online business?
That's an interesting one, because I don't know if I'm just going to talk about, so a lot of the stuff, despite running a funnel business, is not really based around funnels. The number one tool that I'm inside every single day is Quip, which is kind of like Slack and Google Docs had a baby. I absolutely love it. It's where all of our documents live. It's where our FAQs live. It's where our processes and documentation live. We're in there. That's how I chat with people. You've got chat rooms. So that's how I manage all my staff and how I, check in with them. That's where they upload documents. It's where we store everything. So Quip is a huge, huge, huge part of our business. Then I've got Use Loom or Loom, right? Screen recording software, just so powerful.
They've launched a desktop recorder as well now.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, which to be honest is a bit buggy. I don't know if you've played around with it. It seems to.
Well, they got to make money. They are planning to launch the pro version.
They are. Yeah.
The free version is quite solid, so I guess they will eventually make money with pro version.
But again, that's another example of customer acquisition, right?
Yeah.
Of acquiring people, and then if you've got, I think they've got something like 250,000 users. Maybe that's wrong. But
their product is very solid, so it's not just, and they have loyal customers now, and they would be more than happy to upgrade to pro, provided they get their pricing right.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good point. So I use Loom a lot for recording processes. Active Campaign. We've tried to centralize all of our communication. So it is our CRM, it's our lead scoring system, it's our email client. I will email customers and leads from within Active Campaign's like mailbox. So it comes from me if I'm emailing them live. And then obviously it's got our automation. We're now beta testing their chat function called Conversions, which we're now testing out. And obviously our email campaigns and all of our automation, and also some of our remarketing is done through there. So I'm in Active Campaign pretty much every single day. My smartphone as a tool and as a camera, it's become such an important part of
an iPhone.
No, it's not. I'm a Samsung user, so I've got a Galaxy S8 and an S7.
You don't got an iPhone? You don't have a MacBook? That's terrible.
No, man. No. Yeah, I'm PC. I'm a PC user.
Me too. Me too. Yeah. But people do get surprised. Oh, you use PC? I use.
And they do that exact face. Yeah.
That's not a computer, but actually people don't understand. PC is actually a computer that actually teaches you the technical stuff. Mac is for someone who don't use computers or don't know how to use computers.
Yeah. That's like a whole other conversation.
But we'll get a lot of hate mail, so let's stop this topic discussion.
Yeah. So those are the things that I pretty much use every day. And like I said, aside from WordPress and blogging, I write like a huge amount. Maybe Drag and Dictate, which is like my dictation software, which I use to write up a lot of processes and helps with my blogging. Maybe that's the other piece as well.
Okay, so which is your recommended web hosting service for your websites and all that?
Yeah, WP Engine. That's what we use. They've never let me down. Even with their pricing going up, I still think they're best in class person.
I know the answer for the next question, but I'll still ask, what is your recommended page builder plugin?
Yeah, this is it's a tough one. It is Beaver Builder. And again, the right tool is the right tool. If you use Divi, awesome. If you use Elementor or Oxygen or Gutenberg, great. I use Beaver Builder because it works for me. And I like using the same thing across all my sites. So the right page builder is the right page builder. Like what you like, and if you're using it well, it doesn't matter what everyone else is using.
Okay, lastly, any upcoming tool or service that has caught your attention?
It's been around a while, and they've just opened it up to like the paid version. Oribi, which is Oribi.
Okay.
It's if you have to look it up, it's a type of African like gazelle. That's our analytics platform that we use.
Mm-hmm.
We don't use Google Analytics anymore. We just use Oribi.
Why?
And
Any specific reason?
Because Oribi doesn't give me analytics. Oribi gives me insights. Whereas Google Analytics gives me loads of numbers.
Yeah.
Even as a marketer, I'll look at them and I'll be like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with any of this. Whereas Oribi will say, did you know that if someone reads this blog post, they're more likely to buy this product? Or if someone is on this landing page, they're more likely to sign up if they come from Facebook. It will literally just give me this insight. As opposed to data, it actually creates insights from me. And having just 2 insights, and it actually provides more than that, and you can customize the dashboard. So while Oribi has been around probably over a year now, maybe even longer than that, they're still growing and they're changing all the time. As an analytics platform, I highly recommend people checking it out because it's and you can create reports. So if you're doing it with customers, to be able to send them a report and saying, did you know that this blog post actually creates more opt-ins than anyone else? You go, great, let's just drive some more traffic to that. So it gives you insight as opposed to just data, which I really like.
Okay, cool. So any last message for someone who is actively doing email marketing, want to get into funnels without getting into the trap of ClickFunnels?
Yeah. Take a look at what the guys at Digital Marketer are doing.
Mm-hmm.
They send a lot of emails, but they write a lot of blog content, and a huge amount of their sales process looks at writing blog content. If you were into email marketing and you wanted to get started, I would take a product that had an affiliate program. I would write a couple of reviews, and I'd write some blog content or video or whatever type of free content you want to talk about. And then I'd use my email knowledge to start sending traffic to those blog posts. And I would just see what converts. And wouldn't you know it, you get $25 when someone signs up. For the sake of sending a few emails and writing a blog post and then automating that, I think there's some fantastic money to be made there. And you don't have to have a product. You can build funnels without having a product. That's the only thing I would say.
Cool. Sort of passive income.
Yeah.
Though I'm saying passive income. There's nothing called passive income, but
passive income. Yeah, I call it scalable income.
Yeah.
Because you do the work, you write the emails, you write the blog posts, you create the content, and you get the affiliate program. If you sent it out and one person buys, that's the same amount of effort as if 10,000 people buy. And then you can leave it and it can scale by itself. And then you do the second one and that adds a little bit more. And then the third one and that adds a little bit more. So it scales much faster. So yeah, not necessarily passive, but certainly scalable income.
Well, scalable reminds me of single to scale. What was that?
Yeah, it's some guy messing around with a book. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, Mike, thank you so much for your time. It was amazing talking to you.
No, thanks very much for having me on. Like I said, I've always got your show on YouTube whenever it comes out. So
really?
I'm very happy.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love listening to you. I think you've got a really good interview style. So I enjoy listening to it.
Have a good day.
You too, man. I'll speak to you later.